broadcasting live straight from Radio One Studios worldwide. And this is a very historic interview that we're having here because these guys right here, okay, they, were interviewed. Their first interview was done by Carl Reese here at 1490 and later Bill Randall or something like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, this is over 51 years, and at the time of this, right, Rick?
That's exactly right.
Okay, you guys were, this is when rock and roll was being born, okay, and you guys were, you got to get closer to the mic, Rick. Okay, and this is when rock and roll was being born in America, and at this time, this group took off with their own vibe, their own song, and they were rocking the cradle of rock and roll at the time when they began their journey. And it all began in 1957 with the Starfires, didn't it?
Well, late 58 with Tom King and me.
Yeah.
We started it off.
And you were just teenagers, right?
Tom was 16.
Wow.
Tom was 16 years old. And from,
I was only 20 some years.
Oh yeah, you was like his big brother, but
Yeah.
also people want you to know that Tom King took off from Shaw High School. He went to Shaw High School, and he took off from East Cleveland and landed number 5 on Billboard, and we'll tell you about that a little bit later. But my man Mert, okay, getting back to the Copenhagen, Denmark, okay, what's that question I've been asking about?
Is it Copenhagen, Denmark, or Denmark, Copenhagen?
It's Copenhagen, Denmark.
Copenhagen,
That's
Denmark.
right.
Yes.
Okay.
I knew you'd know.
Because it's the capital of Denmark.
All
But
right.
I don't live in the city itself. I live about 45 kilometers north of Copenhagen.
Yeah, and so how, this is just a question off the top of my hippie mind, and so how did you become a member in the, Tom King's band in Cleveland when you were from Copenhagen, Denmark?
Yeah, how'd y'all meet?
Let's connect the dots for the people here is talking, but we want them to understand how you became a member of Tom King and Starfire.
Yes, I can tell you in the short story or the long version.
Yeah, the short story. You got to do the cliff notes for everybody, and they can follow up on your Google. Okay.
In the time I was about 15 years old, I listened to the American Forces radio in Luxembourg. And in Luxembourg, they had the American soldiers, and they had their own radio station.
Right.
And they played American music like Glenn Miller and Elvis Presley when he got
Elvis Presley. Yeah. Lawrence
and
Welk.
then all of a sudden I heard since my baby left me.
Right.
And then I was sold. I said, I gotta go over and check that out.
I know that's right.
All the way from Copenhagen, Denmark.
Yeah,
check that sound out.
Then my parents said they were going. We'd like to go back there to the United States where we got married.
Mm-hmm.
It's cracking up. So,
Keep going.
Somebody's headphones. Okay. Yeah.
oh, okay, maybe it's mine. I don't know.
Yeah. And so you went from Copenhagen to America, and you landed where in America?
We landed April 16th, 1957 at Kennedy. Well, it wasn't called Kennedy Airport then in those days. New York Airport.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, 51 years ago.
Yes, and then my brother Carl came and got a hold of us and drove us back to Cleveland. He was living in a trailer park on the west side.
On the west side, the trailer park on the west side.
Nothing wrong with that.
That was the way coming up. That's the American way. So you got a chance to get into the rustic side of America, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't all.
It was a little trailer.
But from that point on, then you came in. How did you get into a band? You brought your axe with you. You brought your bass with you. What instrument was you playing at the time?
No, at that time I didn't play any guitar or bass. I
Wow,
only
people.
played my accordion, and accordion wasn't very popular in those days.
Okay,
Cool.
you know, the first American rock and roll band that toured the nation. You know, the bass player, you know, who was rocking out. You know, his instrument of choice was the accordion. People.
Amazing.
So I saw that Fender was putting out a bass guitar. So
Right.
I thought this would be easier than playing the upright bass. So I got me a Fender Precision bass and start playing on that. And it didn't take more than 3 months, and I was playing like a bat out of hell.
Oh, wow. You took off out of Cleveland like a bat out of hell. You and the Tom King and the Outsiders, okay, and that's exactly what you guys did. You represented the Cleveland music scene at the time that was blowing up, and we'll get back to, because you also remember Alan Freed too, don't you?
I remember his name, but I never met the man.
Well, you know, we're going to get back into Rick. You're over there kind of quiet, but we got this another song coming up from my people's Edwin Starr, baby. You listen to the Rock and Roll Capital's #1 AM music radio show, baby.
Stay tuned.
The good folk, absolutely.